Hello, my name's Beth, and thanks for joining me here on the Pagan Creative Podcast, where we explore ideas around creativity and the creative life from a pagan and nature-based perspective. We talk about what creativity means to us, how we can draw it out of ourselves, and how we can use it in the world. So this episode, it sits outside of our usual episodes and the series on creativity and plant development that we've been running, and it's especially for the festival of Yule that we are celebrating in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. And you might also know this time by some of its other names depending on your path or where in the world you are. You might call it Winter Solstice or Midwinter or Mother's Night or even Saturnalia. And of course, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, then you might actually be celebrating the festival of Litha or the summer solstice that sits opposite to Yule on the wheel of the year. And so if that's the case, I also recommend giving the episode be released at summer solstice this year a listen if you'd like to join in that celebration. But for this episode, we will be focused on the festival of Yule, and we'll follow the same format as the previous festival episodes. So I'll be talking for a little while about the festival, and then we'll go into a quieter space with some poetry, a guided visualization, and a healing candle meditation. So let's get started. And I want to begin with a quote from Carl Jung, the well-known 20th century psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. And he said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." And we started to talk about this relationship with darkness in our Samhain episode, which you are, of course, welcome to backtrack and have a listen to if you haven't already. But now, as we stand at this next point on the wheel of the year, this place of Yule and the winter solstice, facing the shortest day and the longest night, and depending on where exactly you are in the Northern Hemisphere and how high your latitude is, that longest night might be very long with very little daylight appearing at all. But wherever you are, this time of winter, it's the time of year when we have really sunk into that darkness that is pervading the land and the skies, and we're either fighting it with everything we've got to carry on as if nothing has changed, or we're slowing down and we're relaxing into it, and we are allowing ourselves to surrender to the land's stillness and silence. We're taking into ourselves the element of earth and starting to resonate with that steady presence of the hills and the mountains and the dark caves that have endured winters over thousands and thousands of years. And this is the shift that I always feel on the run-up to this time of year, this profound stillness of darkness that speaks less to seeking and much more to acceptance, to sitting with ourselves in those long shadows of the season's low light and entering into a receptive space where our internal darkness can come and meet us, and where we can look into our own face that may or may not be familiar to us, and know that in extending that embrace to ourselves, to our whole self, that we ignite that spark of light, we ignite that tiny flame that will grow and grow to illuminate more and more of us as the months pass, and will ultimately flow out of us and into the world in all the ways that we might want to express that. Because even the parts of us that we might habitually steer away from, whether because we fear judgment or shaming from others or from ourselves, or because we think the needs of those parts of us might interfere with the way we want to live our life, with the person that we want to or think we should be. But they're still part of us. They're still part of our authentic self. They still belong to us. And when we leave them in the darkness without a face, they can feel scary. They can feel like currents of chaos moving inside us and moving under the surface of things. You know, it's like if you sit in a darkened room, the way the shadows can seem to move and change, because our brains do really strange things with stuff that they can't quite make out, things that they can't define or unequivocally know. So sitting in the darkness, it challenges our ability to sit with the unknown, to sit with uncertainty and with this insecurity of not being able to perceive everything in our surroundings. You know, and that includes our internal surroundings. And these are all things that we are hardwired as a species with these heightened survival instincts to really not like at all. We don't like these sensations. And because of that, it also challenges us to trust that when we do sit with the unfamiliar parts of ourselves, that we are safe, that we are held, and that the darkness is not a saber-toothed tiger that is on the prowl for dinner. So, sitting in the darkness, it also asks us to trust in a turning wheel that will bring the light back to us at its natural time. So we can know that it is okay to sit here, even if it's uncomfortable, because it will pass. Just as our ancient ancestors lived through winter after winter, trusting every year that the sun would return, that it would bring its light and its warmth, and with that would come the growth of new plants and new food and new life. But we can't simply jump from the end of summer to spring, at least not in this part of the world, though I'm sure that our ancient ancestors would have loved to have been able to do that. And I've been thinking about them, our ancestors, a lot recently. You know, here in the UK, like many other parts of Europe at the moment, we're having a bit of a crisis with fuel prices that is making it unaffordable for many people to heat their homes through the winter in the way that many of us are used to being able to. And, you know, while we are not on the latitude of some places that are sort of up in the Arctic Circle, we frequently experience sub-zero temperatures during the winter here. So it's a very real issue for people in terms of health and the vulnerability of homes to problems like severe damp and mould and things like that. And many of us have had to get used to living in cooler environments. And where that's the case, I think we've all felt that adjustment as a bit difficult to cope with at times when the temperature has dropped down and people have had to make some difficult choices. And it's been on my mind that we have been getting this tiny, tiny taste of the actual reality of winter. Because winter is cold. It is here. Winter is cold. And we've really had this huge and absolutely wonderful luxury of being able to heat our homes relatively easy. And we've very much taken that for granted. We've adapted around that. This is something that's allowed us to survive much more easily. But it's not the reality of what's happening outside with the earth during the winter time. And would we rather be properly warm? Yes, of course we would, as would our ancestors, I'm sure, because there is absolutely nothing romantic or idyllic or virtuous about suffering from the effects of cold on your body or the way it makes you more vulnerable to illness. But it has made me really pay attention to the season of winter this year, even more than usual, in different ways to usual, and to think about the life of our ancestors through the winters that they lived through, and just how hardy they would have had to be to get through those months of cold and darkness without any of the things that many modern homes might have in terms of insulation or other ways of generating or retaining heat. And how precious and how deeply appreciated the light and the warmth of the sun must have felt. How uplifting to the spirit. How much this time of the solstice and the turning of the wheel back from darkness towards light must have been longed for and waited for, almost like a lover coming home at the end of a war. Perhaps the aversion of so many of us to even the concept of darkness comes from these experiences of our ancestors, of these long, cold winters that were so hard to survive. But we have to remember that the dark months and the darkness within us, it has a purpose. In nature, this is the time when things are broken down to make room for new life. They allow the earth to replenish and restore and renew and rest before a new cycle begins and the work of growth and productivity is upon us again. And the same is true of the endings in our own life. We don't really process or learn and grow from something if we simply jump from one thing to another with no breath in between to reflect. Change in our life, whether it feels like a gain or a loss, it requires a process of adjustment to a new reality. And sometimes that means a grieving process. And if we try to just carry on as if nothing happened, then we don't fully make that adjustment and we don't get the true new start that we might want for ourselves. We get stuck in the unresolved stuff, potentially for years if we just don't engage with it. And believe me when I say that, I'm saying that from experience. We can't just skip this part because it's uncomfortable, no matter how tempting it might be to not make time for ourselves, to not make time to be in our own company and surrender to that, especially if we're feeling angry or afraid or hurt or lost. It can be really hard to sit in that space with ourselves if those are the undercurrents that are running in us. But to sit in that darkness with these wounded parts of ourselves and wrap our arms around them, to pull them into us rather than push them away, to be a source of love rather than a source of the judgment or the shaming that we might fear from others, and to simply sit with our whole self, or whatever parts of us want to reveal themselves in that stillness and the empty space that we create for them. Whatever parts are ready to step into our awareness, to ask to be held and accepted and healed, that can be an incredibly powerful thing that we can do for ourselves and perhaps subsequently for others. And it becomes a true Yule gift of light and life. In that sense, we become our own Yule flame. And I remember many years ago now, I went on a trip to Ireland, and one of the ancient sites that I visited was Newgrange, that very famous Stone Age passage tomb in the Boyne Valley, where the light creeps along the passage into the chamber at sunrise on the winter solstice. And when I went, it wasn't the winter solstice, unfortunately, but they ran a simulation of it so that you can see how it would appear as the sunlight travels the passage and it fills the chamber. And what I remember most about that experience, and this was despite knowing that it was a simulation, despite knowing that that light was artificial and not the actual sunrise, what I remember was how intensely and inexplicably emotional I felt as that light reached me in the chamber. It was a sensation that was beyond my conscious mind. It was something awakening or being touched or moved in those dark parts of me. And I can't easily describe that internal experience, but I actually remember it more vividly than I remember the place itself. You know, somehow within my memory, the place has become that sensation. It's become those feelings. And what I was also aware of was that this was very different to the sensation of being out in an open space waiting for sunrise over a vast horizon. This feeling of being inside the earth's body, surrounded by her stones and her bones, and being held in that darkness and the silence from the way that the earth kind of deadens sound, this feeling of being shut off from the outside world and from the sensation of a breeze on your skin, or the movement of a bird, or the flutter of wind through branches. But just being inside the earth's body, inside the earth's cold, dark womb, and then this light flowing in, almost like a birth canal opening a passage to the world and creating this bridge of light. And in that moment, it struck me that perhaps sometimes for us to really feel that light, to really be touched by it and awakened and cracked open by it, maybe to feel that, we have to first fully commit to being in that darkness, to stepping inside ourselves and letting ourselves become anchored into the stillness and the silence. You know, we have to let go of the world and all of the distractions and the stimulation of it, and accept to be in a space where we are not doing, we are not being productive, we're not thinking or problem solving or planning or analysing or asking anything of ourselves, but simply sitting with the element of earth and with our body, and observing our body living, observing the sensations that come with that, observing our body breathing, but not doing, not acting, not creating output, just allowing that attention to turn back towards ourselves and observing the space within us. And perhaps to recognise that that darkness that we spend so much of our life resisting and avoiding, all those unseen parts of us, is simply a dark, empty space, like the chamber of a passage tomb that is waiting for the light to flow down the tunnel and fill it with life. And it's always there for us. It's there underneath the chatter of our minds and underneath all our to-do lists and all of the bustle of daily life. And even if we only take this time once a year at Yule, at the winter solstice, to sit down in that space within us and align with the earth cycle, to walk along that passage into the chamber and consent to step out of the world for a while, to feel the stillness and the silence of winter wrap around us and support us in living as whole people who are able to accept ourselves as we are, with all of those threads and all of those currents that are running through us. Even if it's only once a year, then we're still giving ourselves an amazing gift that will nourish us through the winter and beyond. I'd like to invite you now to share in our pathworking meditation some poetry and a candle meditation all around these themes of Yule that we've been talking about today. And as always, please do only enter into this if your attention is not needed elsewhere, such as if you're driving or you're looking after children or you're operating any kind of machinery or equipment. But if you are in a position to settle down and relax, then I want to invite you now to find a comfortable place to sit or to lie down, making sure your body is well supported and that you're nice and cozy so that you can close your eyes and just sink into relaxation and this space that is created to nurture and hold you in this Yule sharing. So take a few moments to do that now. And when you're settled and ready, then I will begin with a poem called Whispering Tree that I wrote for the winter solstice some years ago. Whispering tree of silver hue, your glittering prize speaks before you. The living spark of an ancient land that saw the life in a woman's hand, that saw the life in the still dark stone and was not afraid to stand alone in the trembling womb of a winter's night, to see the shadow bring forth the light, to see the shadow bring forth the flame and scream aloud with a mother's pain, and scream aloud in the serpent's hour of blood and birth and a woman's power to bring forth from the shimmering night the force of life, the sun of light. Whispering tree of silver hue, your glittering prize speaks before you. The wind in your branches carries the sound of secrets held within the earth mound, of secrets held in the rolling sea. Come whisper your secrets, come whisper to me. And now we've set the scene, let's move into our guided pathworking meditation. And at the end of this meditation, I'd like to invite you to keep your eyes closed and to just carry on relaxing as we will move into the healing candle meditation afterwards. But for now, let's take a moment just to start to unwind a little bit more deeply. So just take a moment now to close your eyes and get comfortable, making any small adjustments to your body that allow you to let go of tension. And And when you're ready, take a few deep breaths, just as deep as feels comfortable for you. Just 1, 2, 3, just let any tightness in your body flow away from you on your out-breath. Place your attention on your chest and your belly. Just breathe into them slowly, gently. Just observe your body breathing. And let that rhythm slowly calm you and soften you. And release any tightness you might still be holding on to. And as you breathe, just imagine yourself breathing in new energy that fills your body, flowing through you into every part of you. And on each out-breath, you see it expanding around you, creating a cloak or a bubble of light that comes right over your head and underneath your feet, completely surrounding you. Just let it grow fuller and stronger with each breath. Sending more and more energy, more and more light into it. As it grows, you feel your heart and your belly soften. You feel your mind relaxing, like a clenched hand uncurling. The muscle of your mind letting go of tension, letting go of thoughts about your daily life. Just continue to be aware of your breath as it moves in and out of you. gently energizing you as you relax deeper and deeper into your seat or the ground or the bed where you're lying. Just feel that support all around you, bringing your awareness to the places where the ground meets your body. Bring your attention now to the place where the base of your spine is in contact with the surface beneath you. Just imagine that you could breathe into the base of your spine for a few breaths. Just imagine that as you breathe into that area, that it starts to become warm. Just imagine it opening up, making a connection with the earth. And just imagine that you are sending a root down from the base of your spine, or you could do this from the soles of your feet if you prefer. You send that root down into the earth, down through all the layers of the soil and the rocks, through all the layers of history and roots that unite us all as one. Just let that root travel down and down, right down to the center of the earth, to the earth fire at the center of the planet. And imagine that warm fire is flowing up through that root, up and into your body, your feet, your legs, your pelvis, your torso, your heart, and up and out through the top of your head, flowing down and around you, back down to the earth. And as you feel this earth energy flowing through you, you become aware of the light of the sun above you that's flowing down onto the top of your head, down through your head to your heart and your torso, your pelvis, your legs, your feet, and down into the earth. energy flowing up from the earth and down from the sun. Just take a moment to feel yourself as a beautiful bridge of light that is joining the sky and the earth. And when you're ready, I'd like to invite you to imagine that you're standing in a wide open area at night. Sky is clear of clouds, and a large full moon is shining down on you from a background of stars, reflecting on the snow that covers the ground around you. Take a few moments just to feel the ground under your feet and the cool, fresh air on your face, and to notice anything within this space. Any sounds or movements within the landscape, or anything that is wanting you to be aware of it. And you look ahead and you see that you are standing on a path that leads to a large earth mound with a stone entrance. The stones are decorated with spiraling carvings into the rocks. A covering of snow that sits on the roof as the full moon shines down from above. And you make your way along this path towards the entrance, where you can see there is a being waiting for you. This is your guide who will lead you into the earth mound. So take some time to greet them and to notice what form they appear to you in. They might appear as a human, or they could be an animal, or a bird, or an insect, an otherworldly or mythological being. But take some moments now to see if there is anything that they want to share with you at this time. when you're ready, your guide turns to lead you into the earth mound. And as you step across the threshold, you feel the atmosphere change. You feel the stillness and the silence that emanates from the rocks that line the passageway. And you're aware of the body of the earth above your head and the darkness that wraps around you like a cloak. The only sound is of your own footsteps as you make your way deeper and deeper into the mound, following the shimmering outline of your guide as they walk a few steps ahead of you. And as you follow the path, you feel a rhythmic vibration like a heartbeat coming from the mound, from the body of the earth that is all around you now. And your guide leads you into an open chamber. And as you reach out to touch the rocks that form the walls of this place, you can trace the lines of the spiraling patterns that are carved into their surfaces, created by ancient hands many thousands of years ago. And your guide invites you to sit down on one of the rocks, and you sit here together in the stillness and the silence and the darkness. How does this feel to you? Take a few moments to give attention to the sensation of how this place feels to you, and any internal feelings that might arise into this quiet space. As you sit here in the darkness with your guide, if you choose to and feel ready to, you can invite a part of you that you perhaps don't tend to accept or recognize in yourself to join you here. This could be a part of you that needs your love and your acceptance to be healed, or it could be some part of your potential that holds a gift or an ability that you don't let yourself own. Or maybe you once used but have allowed it to fade. Or it could be something else. But if you feel that you would like to engage with a part of you that is residing here in the unseen part of your consciousness, then extend that invitation now. And I'll just give you some time to let that part come forward and for you to spend some time either in conversation or simply being with that part of yourself. And if you don't feel comfortable to use the time in this way, then simply spend some time here with your guide and gain some more understanding of what this darker space means for you at this time. And as you sit here with your guide, you notice that the passageway you walked along to reach this chamber is becoming gently illuminated with a soft golden glow. And you see the outlines of the stones and the route of the path that you walked. And you spend some time now watching as this light of the rising sun outside of the mound makes its way along the passage towards the chamber. And this light builds and builds as the sun rises, flowing along the passageway now, illuminating the spirals on the stones and into the chamber where you are sitting, flowing into the mound and around and through you. You can feel these ancient stones and the ground under your feet are all drinking in this beautiful golden light. And you feel it renewing and energizing and enriching them. And as the light flows through you, you feel your whole being restored by this golden sunlight as it moves through your body, through your mind, your emotions, your spirit. This is pure new life that is pouring into you, a golden seed of life, illuminating the darkness where you have been sitting, filling it with light and life, healing, restoring sunlight. Is embracing you and any part of you that you have met within the darkness. Just take some moments to feel the incredible gift and blessing of this and to open up to receive it. And as you sit here within the earth, drinking in the sun's new fire, you look to the passageway that is now filled with light and see the form of a woman walking towards you along the beam of sunlight. And as she reaches you, you see that she is carrying a candle and a bough of holly with its rich evergreen leaves and red berries. she enters the chamber and greets you, handing you the candle and holly branch as her gifts to you. Gifts of fire and life to nourish and support you through the winter and into the coming year. This is the Yule goddess who has come to meet you here in this space and bring you her blessings. Take some time now to receive any wisdom she may wish to share with you, or to ask her for her healing or guidance. And when you're ready, you know that it is time to leave this place and return to the world. You thank the Yule goddess and your guide, and you say your goodbyes. You take your candle and holly branch and start to make your way along the path towards the entrance where you first entered the earth mound. Till you were met by the cold winter air and the winter light of the sunrise that is stretched across the sky. The snow still covers the ground ahead of you, and the only colour in this landscape is the green of the holly, the red of its berries, and the distant pine trees. And you start to walk along the path ahead of you, away from the earthbound. And as you turn to look back, you see that the scene is starting to fade before you, fading from your vision and your senses as you return to the room where you are sitting or lying. And you start to slowly move your focus back to your physical body, to become aware of the form of your body, of your arms and legs and torso and head. You become aware of the place where you are, of what you're experiencing with your physical senses, what you can hear and smell and taste, what you can feel, the sensation of the chair or the ground or the bed supporting your body. And just imagine a cloak of sunlight and red berries wrapping around your shoulders, holding you in this energy of nature, holding you safe and embracing you in love and support. And you take some deep breaths in, just feeling the air moving through your body. Feel it expanding your chest and your belly. And then start to imagine that you are breathing in through the soles of your feet. Just be aware of your body making contact with the ground as you allow your body to slowly and gently move. But before you open your eyes, I want to invite you to remain in this space of relaxation for a little while with your eyes closed as we share a healing candle. So I've lit a candle now as our Yule flame, and I'd like to invite you to imagine that candle and its flame burning in the darkness. Just imagine that flame as a point of connection for all of the beautiful shining hearts that are taking part in this space, regardless of time or place. Just imagine this as a single point of focus, a single point of light that is radiating out to bless each one of us with its warmth and its healing, energizing us and opening us, uplifting and illuminating us in whatever way we have need of it. Let's just spend a minute or two just creating this connection with our flame. And see it now as a flame that radiates out beyond us to touch the hearts of all those who wish to receive it, bringing light and warmth, comfort, love, healing, compassion, kindness, beauty, peace, joy, friendship, and understanding. Just imagine its light expanding to hold the whole world, every living being. Just feel it finding its way into every dark space, bringing hope and renewal to every heart that wishes to receive it as a gift of healing and peace. And let's set our intention that this Yule flame might bring support for all in finding light within darkness. Let it bring awakening into wholeness and a self-acceptance. Let it shine warmth and peace into the hearts of all who desire it. Bringing unity and togetherness as one planet, all beings held in this light. And let's just stay in that space together for a few minutes now, and there will be silence for this time, so please don't worry, there's nothing wrong with your device. I'll bring you back when it's time. Blessed be. And when you're ready, just allow yourself once again to become aware of the room where you are sitting or lying. Become aware of the sounds, the sensations of your body, of your limbs, the support that you're lying on. Just bring attention to your breath and feel it expanding your chest and your belly, pulling you into your body, fully present, fully aware. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so I really hope that you've enjoyed our Yule celebration here today. We will bring this space to a close here, but as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all of the blessings of this very beautiful time of year as we journey through the winter towards the spring. So much love, so much light, so much beauty that is flowing out to you right now. I hope that you will join us for our next episode. But until then, bye for now.